In pre-algebra section 1.1, we're dealing with words and expressions. So the order of operation is something that you might have remembered from years prior, but some of you guys learned it as PEMDAS, which is parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction. These are the order that you should combine your equations, which we're going to do down here, and you'll see it in action, but just go over it with me real quick. The first step is parentheses, so anything in parentheses will always go first, okay? Then exponents, so anything with powers will then go first. The next one is then you do anything that's multiplication and division from left to right, okay? And then addition and subtraction is done last. So make sure you know these, whether you remember it as PEMDAS or you remember it at these steps, it doesn't matter. The important thing is you know. So, number 1 asks us to write a numerical expression for the following. The total number of photos are 9 photos taken and 4 more. So basically you have 9 photos that are already taken plus 4 more. Now, the total number of photos is 9 plus 4, which is 13. But it's not asking for the answers. They want you to write a numerical expression. So 9 plus 4 would be your numerical expression. Usually when you're dealing with this, you're dealing with variables, but that's not until next section. So when they're asking you for the expression, don't actually perform the function, don't actually add it like we're doing here. Our answer is just 9 plus 4. Right? Now, the next 4 problems we want to evaluate, and this is where PEMDAS comes from. Okay? So the first one is 17 plus 36 equals -9. So let's go through our order. Parentheses, there's no parentheses. Exponents, there's no exponents, and then multiplication and division from left to right. So your first urge is going to want to add 17 plus 36 because it's the first one. But according to order of operations, we need to do multiplication and division first. So basically, we need to first do 36 divided by 9. Okay? So we have 17 plus 36 divided by 9, which is 4. And then we can do addition and subtraction next, which is 17 plus 4, which is 21. Right? You will not get the same answer if you do 17 plus 36 first and then divide it by 9. You might actually get a decimal if that's the case. So please make sure you're paying attention to the order of operation. The next one, parentheses, we have parentheses first. So even though there's addition in here, the parentheses always rules. So I'm going to do 5, 4 plus 6, which is 10. So I'm going to do this first. Minus 77. Now, I know some of you guys are going to want to do this in your head and just try to get to the answer, but I need you to show your work. This work allows me to see where you've made a mistake, if you made a mistake, and then it also is a stepping stone for you showing your work for larger problems. You need to get in the habit of showing your work, so make sure you do that. So the next is this. Now that there's nothing in the parentheses, 5 and 10 right next to each other means they want you to multiply. So we don't have any exponents, but we do have multiplication and division, which is 5 and 10. So this is 50 minus 77, right? And then the last one is add and subtract. So we have -17, right? Because 50, okay, minus 77, so I hit the 0 and I go into the negatives in the timeline. Now, number C looks a little tricky, but it really isn't. You're looking still for parentheses. But because there's different sets of parentheses, we're going to go in from the innermost parentheses out. So the innermost parentheses is right here, 18. Now, this just means multiplication. So I do 18 minus 6 first. So it's 3. Okay? This just is a different type of parentheses, but it's still parentheses, the brackets. Okay? 18 minus 6, which is 12, plus 2 times 4. Right? So then we're going to do, in here, we're going to do PEMDAS. So inside these parentheses first. So I'm going to work from inside out. So inside the parentheses, we do the order of operation. We already did parentheses. We already did, there's no exponents. Now we're going to do multiplication and division, which is this. So 3, 12 plus 8, Okay? And then, even though this is saying to multiply because it's right next to it, we're still working in this parentheses, and we're going to keep going until the parentheses goes away. So 3, and then 12 plus 8 is 20. And then now we can multiply, which gives us 60. All right? So every parentheses, you're going to want to do PEMDAS. You're going to want to do the order of operations. And then once you get rid of the parentheses, then you can move on to the outside. The last one, this is basically a division sign. That's what that line is, you know, fractions where you do division. So what this actually looks like is 49 plus 31 in parentheses divided by 19 minus 14 in parentheses. Because every time you have a top and bottom, it's in its own parentheses. Sorry, that's not very clear. Divided by 19 minus 14. So I'm going to do the parentheses, 49 plus 31. Get my calculator. 49 plus 30 is 80. And then the other parentheses, 19 minus 14, which is 5. And then now, okay, now that I've gotten rid of the parentheses, then I do 80 divided by 5, which is 16. Right? So I know you want to be tempted to do like if I wrote it this way, this division, but these are its own parentheses. So anytime you top, the bottom, and then you divide last because they're in their own parentheses. So go ahead and write this down. Don't forget to start by writing your vocabulary and the definitions, and you'll do that for every section. And then you'll write this, but go ahead and try page 7, numbers 5, 8, and 10 on your own. That way if you get stuck or you're not sure, then we can figure out what it is that you're confused about and clarify in class. So I'll see you in class.